to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the February 12th, 2018 Fort Anne Town Board meeting. We'll take a moment of silence for the deceased Fort Anne residents who passed away during the last month. Laura Pearl Wilson Taylor, Shirley Ruth Campney, and Francis Lazinski, the father of Joe Lazinski. Thank you. Okay, we need a motion to approve the meeting agenda for this evening.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Aye votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next on the agenda, we need to approve the minutes of the organization meeting that was held on January 2nd, 2018. Need a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Aye votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next, we need a motion to approve the regular town board meeting on January 8th, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Aye votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next, we need a motion to accept the minutes of the special meeting that was held on January 18th, 2018, and this was to audit the records of the tax collector, the supervisor, the town clerk, and the town justice for the fiscal year of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017. Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Benny? And then we need a motion to approve the special meeting that was held on Thursday, January 25th, to conclude the audit of the justice, the town justice for the fiscal year January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017.
I'll make.
So we got Denny and Richard. Any discussion? Aye votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, next on the agenda is the financial report for the month of January. The general funds, the receipts were $854,190.82. The Hadlock Park District was $252,236.52. The Highway Fund was $982,134.83. The Highway Savings Account was $1,001,327.76. The disbursements for the general fund were in the amount of $230,203.51. The total highway was $989,501.16. The checkbook balances at the end of January 31st, 2018. The general fund, that was in the amount of $823,928.75. The highway fund was $69,327.77. The youth commission fund, $1,295.35. The Hadlock Dam project, $239.91. The Hadlock Park District funds, $273,496.70. The Consolidated Health District, $1,107.54. The Trust and Agency Fund, $412.81. The Medical Reimbursement Fund, $100.60. The savings account balances, the general fund, $445,600. $76. The Hadlock Park District, $8,782.11. The Highway Fund, $1,106,508.84. The LoSAP, $14,318.70. Next, we need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next on the agenda, we have two presentations this evening. The first presentation will be by Gretchen Stark. It's in regards to the Hadlock Fishing Derby and the awards that she's going to be passing out.
On January 20th, we had our annual ice fishing derby on Hadlock. And I'd like to have some committee members come up. A lot of them are not here. They had other engagements. Jamie Lasco is one of the head honchos of the whole deal, and he's up north at a search. Diane Bly had to go to Florida unexpectedly. John Fenwick is also on the committee, and he had to work tonight. We do have Joe Monahan here. Come on up. Arlene Green is in sunny Florida, and George Smith is here. So a big thank you to these folks who helped out with the derby. You can- Also, I want to thank people who assisted. And it's a long list, and I want to mention the sponsors as well, because without them, this whole event would not happen. Kathy Mateer with the Hadlock Inn allowed us to use the facility and helped out tremendously. Lake Hadlock Association helped out with food and prizes. Laura Chadwick and Gina Cantanucci Mitchell had crock pots of food. We thank them. Ladies from the Fort Ann Library baked cookies, which were a big success. We had a different event, not event, but happening. The Youth League adults help out with the parking. And we had 3 young ladies do it this year. Showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning with their flashlights, put their vests on, and worked like the devil. So I want to thank you folks. Let's see, West Fort Ann and Pilot Knob volunteer fire companies also helped out. The Fort Ann Rescue Squad was on duty in case anything happened. Joe, Pat Nolan, whack, and Harry Ziegler were great helps as far as getting the roads plowed, sanded, and getting everything set up. So thank you, folks, with that. Dan Ladd and Jeff Pepper helped out with advertising on the radio and in the newspaper. Sponsors: Sally's Hen House, Walker's Home Farm and Tack, Scrappy's Diner, Battle Hill Brewing Company, Stewart's Shops, J.E. Monahan Metals and Fab, Chippewa Stone, Fish 307, Cumberland Farms, Fort Ann Motors, the Hadlock Inn, Falls Farm and Garden, Sassy Sally's Hair Salon, Glens Falls National Bank, the Full Moon, Beans Country Store, Sugarloaf Farm. Joe and Pat Monahan also helped with some prizes. Lake George Auto Marine, Grumbellies, Fort Ann Super Stop, the Adirondack Bar and Grill, and the Lake Hadlock Association. So as you can see, a number of people helped make this event possible. All these sponsors provided prizes, and it was a very successful day. The total funds brought in were $1,440. So, and we had 93 adults, 43 children, which was a good showing. Beautiful day, everybody had a great time. We distributed the money to 5 organizations in Fort Ann, all dealing with children. That's our big thing. Everything we earn in this event deals with the children in Fort Ann or the area. So I'd like to have Pat Nolan come up with Make-A-Wish. $288 for your group. I want to thank you very much.
George? Thank you so much.
This is a great event they put on. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. I don't know, a few people know me. I do Wax Make-A-Wish Ride. I'm just a name on it. We have so many people on the committee. It's great. And we generate on that ride around $30,000 to $40,000, which is good for 3 or 4 wishes for kids. This money's going to go to them. George is a Make-A-Wish rep. He also does the Wax Make-A-Wish Ride. He's my right-hand man, or I'm his right-hand man. I don't know which, but we kind of work together. George, you might want to say something.
I just want to thank the board for having us and thank the committee for choosing Make-A-Wish again to donate us some money. I've been a volunteer wish granter with Make-A-Wish. This is my 24th year, and I'm a retired firefighter from Glen Lake. And I can't thank WAC and everybody enough that put money into this thing. All this money is so important to the Wish Fund. I've done wishes in Fort Ann. I'm in one in Hudson Falls right now, and a lot of people don't, they hand you money and they don't really know where it goes. Well, I see where it goes all the time, and it's amazing what a wish will do for a kid. So, thank you very much.
We've had quite a few local children during the Make-A-Wish Ride come in and get a wish. So it's all money in the area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, guys. Will you, Jamie? Everybody? Yeah.
Amanda, I'll call on you. The 3 of you can come up and accept this gift for the Fort Ann Youth Group. They look so different tonight than they did at Saturday morning. Thank you so much. And a check for $288 for the Youth League.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Pat Monahan, you want to come up for the library? All those cookies you had the people make and help make. And I'd like to give you a check for the library, and thank you very much.
Thanks. Just, we do a lot with the kids. We have a preschool program that we've just started for 18 months to 4 years. There's one this Wednesday. We do a craft with them. They have a playtime to get them to socialize. And we also have a Mother's Day brunch, I guess you'd call it, where we had, last year we had 18 adults and 18 children, which was just about our capacity. We can't hold any more than that. We had a cutoff time. And then we have the Fantastic Fridays during the month of July. And we have Up Yonder Farm comes. We had a puppeteer. Mrs. Gould, the art teacher, came and did some things. We also, oh, we had Birds of Prey. Someone brings those. And we had a Native American who came and donated his time. So thank you very much.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great work. And Emily Stranahan for the backpack program at school. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
boy. A check for $288.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We really can't thank the community enough for continuing to support us. This is our 3rd year in the program. We have 14 kids this year, consisting of 8 families. And it just, you guys have made it so easy for us by continuing to support us and not have to worry about where the money's gonna come from. It seems to keep coming, so thank you so much. We
Well,
can't-
thank you for all you do. Is there anyone here from Big Brothers Big Sisters? Oh, come on up. I'm sorry, I don't know you. Bill Moon, okay. Thank you so much. And here's your check for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you so much.
All right, great. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everyone in the community. We're not able to do the things that we do in the community without your support. And we're very proud of our program in Fort Anne School and the kids that we're serving here in the community. And I can't think of anything more iconic than teaching a child to fish. I mean, that's kind of the picture-perfect mentoring opportunity. So thank you for doing what you do so we can do what we do.
Thank you. During the event, we had a person there with a drone that took pictures from 100 feet and 200 feet. And he gave us the pictures that he took, are two very good ones. And I'd like to present these to Mr. Moore, that maybe we can hang up in the town hall. Thank you for allowing us to have this program. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Next on the agenda, we have a gentleman by the name of Rick Chase here. He's going to speak this evening about the Champlain Hudson Power Express project. The project is to take a 1,000 megawatt line from Canada all the way down to Queens, New York. And Rick, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor, and thank you for having me this evening. Before the meeting started, I passed out two pieces of paper. One is just kind of a general overview of what the project is all about, and we'll touch upon this briefly. We won't go into every little detail in the interest of time. And then a set of maps which outlines a proposed modification to the approved route for the Champlain Hudson Power Express transmission line as it relates to the town of Fort Anne. I'm here tonight not only to brief you on the project, but to ask for the town board's support, particularly for the change that I just mentioned and we'll go through in a minute. The Champlain Hudson Power Express is a 1,000 megawatt high voltage direct current underground and underwater electric transmission line that is designed to bring in from Canada clean, renewable hydroelectricity from the New York-Canadian border down into the New York City area. It's about 333 miles long. About 196 are underwater and 137 miles are underground. It's backed by the Blackstone Group, which is a large private equity investor. This is a 100% privately financed project. They will provide all the equity for the project, and the balance will be borrowing from banks. The line is fully permitted. We received what's called an Article 7 certificate from New York State in 2013, and two federal permits, one in 2014 called the Presidential Permit, which allows us to bring electricity across the Canadian-US border, and an Army Corps permit that deals mainly with waterways and wetlands. We expect to begin construction in 2019 and have the project in service by 2022. The next page we'll skip over. That just provides more detail on the permits. The project will result in significant economic and environmental benefits to the state. Again, I'll just briefly summarize what they are without going through every detail, but we expect as a result of bringing in this lower cost electricity from Canada that the wholesale electric rates will decrease across the state. It will replace dirtier fossil fuel power plants, resulting in cleaner air. The project will pay property taxes to the communities through which it passes, and it will result in about $3.6 billion in additional economic input during the project's construction and operation. We anticipate using as much local labor as we possibly can. A lot of this work is, civil construction, backhoes, digging, bulldozers, and the like. There is some specialty work involved that undoubtedly will be performed by folks from out of the area, but we will use as many local contractors and local workers as we possibly can. As I mentioned, the project is fully permitted, and through Fort Anne, the permitted route would be located within the Canadian Pacific Railway right-of-way, say that 5 times in a row, within the CP Rail right-of-way through the entire length of the town. As we developed the project and went from a more conceptual idea of the project, which resulted in the approved route, to the more specific, we spent more time in the field. Our engineers did a little bit more detailed planning, and we found along the CP rail route that there are a couple of difficult areas to construct and install the cables. So they looked around for some alternate routes that would be less impactful and more constructible. And so what we're proposing to do is, for part of the route through Fort Anne, is to install it on the shoulder of Old Route 4, both North Old Route 4 and South Old Route 4. So just before we cross the Whitehall-Fort Anne border, we would leave the railroad right-of-way and enter onto the most northern part of Old Route 4 and install the cables in the shoulders of the road. And this is what the cable a slice of the cable looks like. There'll be 2 of them that will be located about this far apart, buried about 4 feet below ground along the route of the line. You can see what that cable's made of and how heavy it is. So we'll travel in the shoulders of Old Route 4, which is a town road, as you know, and at the southern end of Old Route 4, we will reconnect with the railroad right-of-way and continue south across the town border into Kingsbury. So that is the proposed change that we are asking for consideration. In order to effect that change, we will have to go back to the State Public Service Commission to get an amendment to our certificate, which would then allow us to make that modification and install the cables along Old Route 4 in that area. Admittedly, there will be some temporary disruption within the community when we install the cables. We'll be trenching, laying the cables in, backfilling, and restoring the surface of the ground, whether it's repaving or whatever the surface is, to at least the condition that we found it, if not better. Once the cables are in the ground, probably never think about them again. It won't require any municipal services to support the project. No police presence or activity oversight, fire department. It won't put any additional burden on the local school districts. But we will pay property taxes for the life of the project. We assume that the life of the project is at least 40 years. This is not a new technology. It's used in the United States and quite a bit over in Europe, and they operate for 50, 60 years without any difficulty. So we would pay taxes each year for the life of the project. Within the town, it's a little bit over 6 miles of the route. And in terms of property taxes, we are estimating that in the first year that we would pay the town about $85,000 in tax payments. The school district would receive about $350,000 in the first year. The county about $165,000. And we also go through the village and they would receive roughly $6,000 for a first year total of $606,000 just for the section of the line within the town of Fort Anne. And over a 40-year time frame, considering an escalator, we're talking about $33 million over the first 40 years of taxes to the Fort Anne community and school district. So that's, and on the last page is my contact information if you have any further questions. We anticipate getting together with the highway superintendent and the supervisor and whomever else he feels should be there to actually walk the proposed route modification in the very near future, within the next month. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Rick, I just have one comment I want to make here. That is, at last month's town board meeting, we appointed Sam Hall to be the liaison between the town and the American Legion.
Okay.
And I'll be asking Sam Hall to join myself and you and your engineer and the highway superintendent, Paul Winchell, when we walk that
Great.
property.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Is there anyone in the
very
public
helpful.
that would like to ask a question? I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Christine Milligan, Fort Anne American Legion Commander. There are quite a few
Christine.
issues with this project. As for, you are going through a section of battlefield of Fort Anne. We have Battle Hill on one side, we have the actual battlefield. We're doing research on this for many years, we're still in the research process. We do know along the railroad track, canal, and old Route 4, that was part of the battlefield also. Our concern is when you start trenching and digging of the artifacts, is there gonna be anybody there to stand by if they find bones? Because we do have, from 1931, that there was some bones recovered when they did old Route 4. What is gonna happen to those artifacts? We need to document where we, especially if you do come across, you know, we have soldiers, we do know there's 6 at least there. This will be a third time if you unearth them. Hopefully not, but if it happens, this will be the third time since the war. We were unaware that you were coming through the battlefield area. The battlefield is basically from George Sherwood's, which is down in by the turnaround right on Old Route 4, all the way to the village. It goes to Clay Hill, goes to Canes Falls. It is a massive map. I have it here. The National Parks has it already documented as the integrity of the battlefield. You will be going through that.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. By all means, part of what we have done in the permitting of the project, and it will carry forward during construction, is to study cultural resources along the route. We have done that, Phase 1A, which is kind of a literature search, looking at available information on historic properties and cultural resources along the route. The State Historic Preservation Office was a part of the permitting process that we underwent back in 2010 through 2013, and they essentially signed off on the project with the provision that we have policies and procedures in place in case we do come across some archaeological finds or cultural resources. We will do more in-depth study before construction begins.
I don't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but
that's fine.
because you went to SHPO and all that back before, we started as the first one came out through the American Battlefield as of 2013, when we started defining the battlefield.
Okay.
We are in the middle of the second one. So they have the information down there, but because you did it years ago, you might want to research to update. The information has changed quite a bit.
Yeah,
We have maps,
and-
we found artifacts.
Yeah, and anything that you can provide us, you know,
Yes.
we can make the copies for you or whatever.
American Battlefield has it down there. Albany has the first research one.
But
I'm working on the second one
But be
now.
assured that, you know, we're very sensitive to that, and if we were to ever find anything,
That's our main
we would
concern.
stop. SHPO would come in, we would determine what to do, which could, you know, in the worst case, you know, result in a reroute around that area. But they would be anything we find would be handled with respect and properly, and we wouldn't be making the decision. We will have inspectors on site.
Was our main concern.
Yeah, as
Like they
we-
do up in Lake George, whenever they go to do road work or whatever, they have somebody there in case, because they'll always
Yeah,
find something in Lake
yeah.
George.
There will be inspectors, the Public Service Commission will have inspectors. So, you know, we're, you know, prepared in case we do find anything.
That's our concern, was more for the,
Is there
Thank
anyone
you.
else in the audience that would like to ask a question regarding the project? Okay, well, thank you, Rick. Really
Thank you
appreciate
very much for your time.
And don't forget to take your cable.
Yes,
okay?
I thought I forgot it up in, at the county the other day.
You're
but
gonna get
I-
it back after that.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the opportunity for the public to comment on this evening's agenda. Is anyone in the public that would like to make a comment about this evening's agenda? Since I see no hands, let's continue on with the agenda then. Next, we're going to have two public hearings this evening. The first public hearing is going to be for the Cold War veteran exemption, and we'll open the public hearing at 6:32. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on the Cold War veterans exemption? Since I see no hands, we will close the public comment at 6:33. Next on the agenda is a public hearing for the expansion of the West Fort Anne Firehouse. We'll open the public hearing at 6:33. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak regarding this matter?
If I may. My name is Dave Delore. I'm Assistant Fire Chief in West Fort Anne. As you can see, I brought some lovely pictures here. The reason we're asking permission to expand our firehouse is we have 7 pieces of apparatus in a 3-bay garage. The 3-bay garage was constructed in 1991. From the start, it was too small. It already had 4 pieces of apparatus in it when it was built. What we need to do is we need to be able to walk around our trucks in a clear walkway, which we cannot do. We have 4 trucks in the back that are right back tight against the wall. Well, there are 2 trucks and 2 trailers. We have 3 trucks in the front, big trucks. We have roughly 30 inches to get around the front of the trucks. And when we go around behind the trucks, we have to zigzag, turn sideways to get around through. If we were under an OSHA inspection, because there are no clear walkways for people to walk through, we fail the inspection. In order to keep the firehouse open, we'd have to park half of the equipment outside. And that's unacceptable, seeing as how most of it is needed around the year, 12 months. We have a rescue trailer with 6-wheeler. We have high-angle rope rescue equipment in that trailer. We have a boat trailer with 2 rescue boats that can be used for summer, can be used for winter, for ice rescues. Those things have to be kept inside. The fire trucks all carry water. they have to be kept inside. We have a four-wheel drive Chevy Tahoe that we use for first response, has medical equipment in it. The medical equipment can't freeze. Has to be kept inside. So what we're asking is, we're asking to add on the same type of building as we have, but more than double the size, to give us 6 bays across the front, so that all of the equipment in there, except for one trailer, can have a door in front of it. That will give us room to pass around the vehicles, to be able to work on the vehicles, work around the vehicles in the wintertime, which right now we can't do. We have to pull 1 or 2 vehicles out to do anything in there. We have no place to wash hose, we have no place to dry hose. If we don't dry hose, we're looking at $5,000 or $6,000 to replace hose because it rots. It goes bad, even the plastic stuff. So we need to enlarge the firehouse to give us more room to work. And hopefully this size that we've chosen will be large enough that we won't have to come back in 10 or 20 years and ask for another addition. This will be plenty big enough. If we ever get an additional vehicle, we'll have room to double them up over here, or we can move a trailer and have another vehicle at the door ready to go. Right now, in order to get the rescue trailer out and hook it to a vehicle, we have to move 2 other trucks out the front doors, around to the side, in order to get one out of the back, move it over, and hook up to the rescue trailer. As most of you know, it's about a 20-25 minute run up to Shelving Rock. We average going up there 8 times a year. We need the rescue trailer to be able to be hooked up in a short amount of time. It takes 3 to 5 minutes for our membership to get to the firehouse. Presently, it takes another 10 to 12 minutes to get the trailer hooked up and get started on the road. So somebody that's injured up there is going to be laying almost an hour before we get to them. That's pretty much unacceptable. We have 12 people that are trained in high-angle rope rescue. So now we are covering rescues on the over 200 climbing paths on the rock faces up there, which nobody knew were there until somebody published a book about it. Now we're getting a lot of rock climbers up there. We did our first rescue up there 2 years ago. Okay, and he was an instructor. So we need this rescue equipment. We had a pontoon boat on Hadlock Pond for a number of years. We found that when we went to use it, it usually wouldn't run because it hadn't been run enough. So we decided to do away with the pontoon boat. We now have a trailer with an inflatable rescue boat on it and a John boat upside down on top, and we can use both of those in the summertime for warm water, use them for cold water, and use them for ice rescue. We have to be able to get those things out in a timely manner in order to help people. Instead of, with the pontoon boat was only useful to us on Hadlock Pond. With the setup that we have now with the 2 rescue boats on 1 trailer, we can use those on 9 different waterways in the town of Fort Anne. If we can get into a driveway and get to within a couple hundred feet of the water, we can pick that inflatable boat up and carry it and put it in the water. We can carry the John boat to the water. But we have to be able to get them on the road in a timely manner. So we need the space. Are there any questions? It's a pretty simple building, pretty simple construction. It's basically post and beam, metal sided, insulated, metal walls on the inside, pretty much identical to what we have now, only larger. Concrete floor. We have quite a lot of work to do on the outside to alleviate groundwater concerns, which we have to do according to the APA. It'll be paved all the way around. In the rear will be a concrete pad in the rear of the old building. The concrete pad will be used for when we do practice automobile vehicle extrication. We'll park several wrecked cars back there, and we'll be able to work on those wrecked cars without having to deal with mud, without having to deal with the weather so much. They'll be out of sight, and we'll have less problem with people trying to steal parts off of them, which we've had a couple times. The rest of it will be paved around, all the way around to the front, catch basins to deal with the water runoff, and that's pretty much it.
Is there anyone in the audience that have any questions? Does the board have any questions or comments that they'd like to make regarding the addition?
Dave,
Yes.
how long do you anticipate to start the project, providing you get all the necessary permits? Do you have a date?
We don't have a date right now because we don't know how long the permits will take.
Okay.
The APA can sometimes be a stickler.
I don't foresee any problem with the county.
I don't know, I don't either. The county, I think will, it's a simple project, really.
I mean, we did the,
If you notice on the front of this building, we added some stonework and some woodwork to make it pleasing to the APA.
for Adirondack, that was around there.
Basically for the APA.
Proper brown.
Great.
We really don't have any dates yet, and, it's gonna depend on the permitting process.
Okay.
Does anyone else on the board have any questions?
Just affect their tax cap later on.
It will become part of the budget, we'll increase the budget if it were to pass, yes.
My only concern is I got $500,000 worth of
Richie.
equipment sitting in the snow.
Can you grab the mic? I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, come on up front. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
So, I can't hear what you're saying.
Go ahead, Paul.
Just future, I mean, I don't know how long this won't last or whatever, but just, I got $500,000 worth of equipment sits out in the snow. I got trucks in the garage that have to get plugged in cold weather, that we use in cold weather. And we could use a major tune-up. Our last updated our garage was the septic pump about 2 months ago. That's the last thing in about 5 years.
Anybody else have any questions? Comments?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. First of all, I want to apologize to everybody for being late, and I hate to admit this, but I will. I had put the meeting down at 7 o'clock, so I showed up at 6:30 to town hall. 6:36, I called to see where we were, so I apologize for that. I just have a couple questions. Do we have any kind of plan through the fire department as to the equipment and like a 5-year plan, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we started that last year.
You started that last
We have a
year?
replacement plan, yes.
That was after you already bought the truck, that you didn't have a place to shelter?
That included the new truck,
It included a new truck?
yes.
Okay, so I guess my question is, did we buy a truck and not have a place to put it, or what's the issue?
It's got nothing to do with the truck.
Has nothing to do with the
Okay.
truck.
The truck, the 3 feet that's longer than the trucks that are there. I mean, Richie's seen it, we took him to do a walk through it. Then wouldn't have made any difference.
Okay, so.
You guys are more than welcome to come to the firehouse anytime.
Okay, so I guess, I got from some of your membership, I got the wrong impression. Someone told me it was because they didn't have enough room to put the new truck in there.
No,
They got it in there, but they needed more storage space.
We
because
considered
of
that
the truck.
building the truck.
Pardon?
We considered the length of the truck when we built it. The station.
as a matter of
Sure you're
fact,
talking to
one
current
of,
membership?
one of the bidders,
Pardon?
Are you talking to current membership about that?
West Forty members of the fire department, yeah, that have approached me about it, because they're taxpayers too, and they're a little concerned about the extra taxes and the burden. That's
one
the
of,
other
one of the,
question.
one of the bidders for the new truck was eliminated because he kept building it too long.
He's never known.
They kept building it 38 feet long, and we told them it had to be 36. So, as far as the impact on the taxes go, I did this when we bought the new truck, I'll estimate again. If you go down to the new Dunkin' Donuts and buy a cup of coffee once a month, that's what your taxes are gonna go up for a year. Take that cup of coffee, multiply it by 12, that's what your taxes will go up.
I'm not concerned with what your tax, I'm just concerned if it's gonna stop future growth for the rest of the town. That's the only thing I was concerned. I agree, you guys need more room
We're figuring there's gonna be more growth at some point. At some point.
with a 2% tax cap, there's no room for growth.
I know
We're
that.
going behind instead
Well, no,
of ahead.
I'm hoping for more homes, more businesses, more something.
And your, how's this, I guess I'm just a little confused about the money aspect of it, how that's gonna all tie in for future equipment. In other words, there's no equipment you visualize that you're gonna have to purchase within the next, I guess when I say is there a 5-year plan, so that we as a board can plan ahead as to what the projections may be and make an intelligent decision on the expenditures
I have
that we're
a, I
making
have a
today.
plan that I did with Richie that X amount of dollars goes into a savings for turnout gear, air pack bottles. The only thing we haven't done is air packs. The thing is, they keep changing, and like I was talking to you, they give you unfunded mandates.
Right, and that's my
They just
concern,
changed
that's,
something recently with the hoods. Said they wanted us to give 2 hoods out, now they want us to buy, which were $35 a piece, which was no big deal, but now they want us to buy $135 hoods.
and that's my only concern, is the unfunded mandates that come down, and are we planning for those? And is there gonna be a way?
There's no way, how can you plan
There's
for
There's no way to plan for
Well,
unfunded mandates,
How do you know
because
what's gonna come?
that stuff changes.
You don't, that's,
year
and
round.
that's my point, we don't,
Yeah.
okay, we don't know what's gonna come. And, you know, within the fire department, but almost $1 million over the last 2 years, with the new truck and now this, if it should go through. So, you know, you're talking some heavy coin that's gone into the district in the last couple of years. And let's project ahead as to what the membership may be to maintain it. All the organizations are having more problems recruiting members to serve, and because of all the additional mandates and requirements to put on for training. So how is it going to affect us?
Right now, our numbers haven't dropped, if anything, they increased in the past 3 years for member size.
But what's the projection? I mean, that's why when I look at something, I look at a plan for the future, and how does it look like it's being projected and what's there, not just what we have today. And is it gonna be enough membership to sustain that down the road? That's all I'm asking, and I don't know the answer to that.
We don't either.
Okay, but your finance person, your finance chair, nobody's taking a look at that to see where you may be down the road?
As in membership wise?
Yeah, that's part of your finance program, what your membership would be, because that would tie into what you think your projections are gonna be to mandate with the equipment stuff you have to purchase. I would think.
I get, like you said, it's like no other, it's no different than this place or Fort Ann Squad.
Okay, no, I
You
understand.
know, I mean, I can't project that we're gonna get 10 more members or lose 10 more members.
Okay, but you haven't sent anything down and projected a budget out according to what your membership may or may not be?
No, because we don't know what the budget may or may not be, or what the membership may or may not be. We don't know what the trucks are gonna cost 5 years from now.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing, they don't only go up 2%.
No, I'm well aware of that.
Unfortunately, you know, everything we buy does not have a 2% tax cap on it,
Okay.
everything.
Understand that,
So-
and we do, and that's why I'm asking these questions.
Well, that's,
Because we have to prioritize when we're doing things. And if we have the raw information to make a good decision on, then we can do that. That's all I'm saying.
Richie, how many people live in the town? Roughly?
Roughly 5,700, 5,800,
Okay,
something like that.
all right. Just for information so you can compare. I found out last week that the town that I came from in Dutchess County, town of Clinton, 4,600 people. They're spending over $1 million for fire protection for 2 fire companies. And one of them wants to build a $5 million firehouse. So how do you compare? We're not doing bad here, actually,
It all depends.
if you compare to that.
Yeah, I don't know what their economic situation is in comparison to ours. I do have a couple other, you done, Sam?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. You presented the town with 2 quotes for loans. One's a variable rate and one's a fixed rate. The variable rate is for a 20-year period of time, so a 25-year period of time.
25 for the variable rate.
And every 5 years, it would be looked at
They
to see
review it.
if there would be an increase or, you know, if the rate would change.
Probably not a decrease.
And it has a minimum that it would never be less than X percent, right? I don't think that that's in the best interest of the town, the taxpayers, because of the uncertainty of what happens with interest rates. There's none of us that can predict what the interest rates are gonna be like 5 years from now, never mind.
I think you're gonna see them go up within the next 6 months.
The 10-year rate went up last week, right? So usually it has that.
Which then the banks will follow with everything.
They'll go, right. So I think that if this project were to go forward, the right thing to do is to go with a fixed mortgage rather than a variable one. And the fixed mortgage, sure, it has an initial higher cost, but you know what your costs are gonna be over that period of time. The other thing that.
It's a shorter term, which makes the payments higher.
Right.
Which, I don't mean, the reason why I gave you the two is I looked at dollar amounts. I'm like, well, 25-year, it's a lower rate. Yes, we look at 4 increases possibly in that time frame. Of course, I'm not a banker. I still figured we'd be fine in that aspect, so that's why I presented that one. And then I had the fixed rate because, you know, there's a gap in between those numbers. So that's why I initially gave you guys the adjustable, and then I presented the fixed rate.
And when the down, you know, the attractiveness of the variable rate is the interest rate is X, and the payment's lower than the fixed rate, but it has the opportunity to have that escalate later on in life. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is, does it make sense to go forward at this time before you get approval from the APA? Why go through all the exercise and then find out the APA says no?
We have to present the
we-
bank with the information.
We have to present the bank with the information in order for them to hold that offer for
And as
us.
you know, they said they'd only hold the offer until April 1st.
I've been in contact with them, as long as I keep them in the loop and the track, that's an open letter to upon we get finished with the Adderley State Park. Because they have to send out an estimator.
I don't know how long it would take the APA to make a decision and give you an answer one way or the other, but if interest rates change between now and April 1st, you can be assured this may not be the interest rate for the project.
I'll send him an email tonight.
I mean, what if it takes 6 months for the APA? Not that I suspect it will, but what if it did? Are they gonna hold that interest rate for you for 6 months?
Under my impression, my commitment letter holds me at that rate. And according to what I spoke with the loan officer, Joe Rothrock, as long as we keep them in track, because I told him, because my lawyer even contacted them and said that April date is
Probably not gonna happen.
not meetable. And he said, as long as we keep them informed and information going to them and we keep the process rolling with them, we're locked in.
I'd wanna see it in writing.
I'll get it in writing.
Okay, because this talks about on the fixed rate, it says fixed at a 4.5% per annum at the end of the term, you know, and it's for 20 years, but with payments beginning on April 1. Now, if the APA hasn't approved the project and if the board has approved it, you wouldn't be able to do it until you have the approval from the APA. So it's important, I think, to get the APA upfront. Are you going to incur any expenses with the bank before you have the APA approval?
Oh, yes, we have closing costs.
But
No, not before approval.
We have design
With
costs.
the bank,
Yeah,
The bank.
not with the bank. We don't own the bank anymore.
not yet,
Not yet.
Not until after approval.
Yeah.
So it's with the,
Right.
all the money is with the closing.
yes.
The other thing, if someone that spoke to me about this asked me to ask, is this a necessity or is that a nicety?
There's nothing nice on that picture. There's
There's nothing-
4 metal walls and lights.
There's nothing fancy.
And is this gonna be paid for by 100% by taxpayer money?
I would assume that it's gonna be included, the payments will be included in our contract.
Is the West Fort Ann Fire Company putting any money towards this project?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, you'd be aware of it, right, wouldn't you?
Well, no, because if it hasn't been brought to the membership and the membership hasn't voted on it, then
Well,
we wouldn't be aware of it.
what's the financial picture like for the West Fort Ann Fire Company at this time? How much money do you have in your accounts?
Right now, I don't know what we have in our accounts.
You don't know?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, is it a sizable amount of money, or is it just?
Well, we have the truck fund, which usually is enough in there to hold off our payment, because our town contract money doesn't come till late. So we have to make that first payment from last year from our truck fund money.
When is the payment due?
When is that? March, right?
The
March first.
truck payments are due in March.
When do you usually get your money in? Sometime in March?
We've gotten it as late as April before.
When did that happen?
It was years ago,
Yeah.
but it's happened quite often where we had to,
And that was a $1,250 penalty fee on our,
It hasn't happened in the last few years, has it?
No.
I don't know, I just think, it seems to me that you want to get the APA approved before the board would want to approve the project.
The problem with that is that in order to get the APA to approve, we have to do all of the design and all of the planning, survey, everything has to be done, and we have to pay for that up front, because the APA wants all of that stuff with their permit application.
So you have to incur those expenses.
We have to
We're gonna
incur
pay
all
for
of those- we have to
the
incur
design.
all of those expenses.
So one way or the other, you pay those up front for the design, and so
Right.
you make your presentation to the APA.
Right.
But I still think that if you can lock in the bank at your 4.5% for an indefinite period of time, it would make sense to get the APA approval and then to go forward with this. Rather than to go forward with it and to find out the APA may say no.
I don't feel the APA will say no. They may ask for certain changes.
You told me several weeks ago that when I came down to visit the current structure with the equipment in there, that you had applied earlier some period of time in the past, and the APA told you no?
No, what they told us is when the initial part of this building was built, they told us that that's it for this piece of property, you're maxed out. But since then, we have purchased more property
And where is that?
behind the other building. We purchased additional property from Kathy.
But not on the lengthwise of the...
No, we're as far as we can go across the width.
With the new building added to it?
There's enough
There's plenty of room
property to
there.
put that building on.
The
Whether,
way it's depicted today, straight across.
Yes, and we'll still be able to drive around the end of it to get to the back.
It just seems to me that it would be in the best interest to get the approval of the APA first. Does anybody have any thoughts on that from the board?
well, Richie, the
Yes.
next step for us with financing is to have the bank come out and have an estimator estimate the value of our property. That will determine whether we have a construction loan or an equity loan. That's $2,000.
So, you don't know, it could be either or, still.
Correct.
Well, we've decided to go with the fixed rate.
Well, Floyd just said that the bank's gonna tell you if it's gonna be variable or fixed.
No,
no, construction.
construction or
Or an
an
equity loan.
Equity loan.
If we have enough value in the property as it sits now, we can do an equity loan, which is lower interest. Different terms,
On a fixed rate?
on a
Yes.
fixed rate.
But they can't do anything until they come out and do an estimation on the building.
I think we would need to see what the bank is gonna, what the final offer is gonna be from the bank.
Well, it's gonna be that's the highest payment we're gonna have.
We need to see it in writing. I mean, I don't think the board would be in a position this evening to approve. Unless if any other board member feels differently, please speak up right now. I think we need to know what the bank is gonna offer. Is it gonna be a fixed rate? Is it gonna be construction or home equity
Well,
type of loan?
if it's equity, it's gonna be cheaper. it's gonna be a benefit, it's gonna be cheaper than what it is as a, that's the construction loan rate right there.
And we would need to see it on paper.
Until they come out and do an estimation on the property, you won't get it on paper. And that's gonna cost us $2,000
So,
to have them come out and do an estimation, because we can't have our own estimator. They have to use a bank estimation company, and that's $2,000.
Okay?
so Floyd, if I'm understanding this in, so there's a possibility that we could approve this, that would commit the town to paying monies for a project that may not even go forward.
Right, we gotta go, we have to have an approval before we go, if we go any farther.
No, you said, that's not what you said. What you said was it would cost us $2,000. So again, we would be indebting the taxpayers to pay money up front if we approve the loan for something that may or may not be approved.
No, firehouse will cover
Okay, so then the 2,000 you just mentioned is not an issue. You can go ahead with the project.
Well, I think what
without
the
us-
members want, that they don't wanna spend $30,000 on blueprints and then get approved through the APA, and then the town says, no. So they're kinda taught, they don't wanna, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that.
Okay, any other questions from the board members?
Personally, I think I would like some more info before I would feel comfortable going yes on it.
I think
That's just me.
I'd like to have the approval.
You got the commitment letters.
We can't do anything without your approval. I mean, our hands are tied, we're hog-tied until we get your approval.
Well, you don't need our approval to go to APA. You don't need our approval to get your...
Yeah, we do, because we're gonna have to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to go to the APA.
So you don't need our approval, you need our money, is what
Well,
you're, that's
no,
what you're saying.
we need to know that the project is going forward. And if we don't get your approval, we're spending $20,000 and the project is not going forward, it's stalled.
Okay, so if we commit, let's say we commit, let's just say we commit as a town.
The
to approve
department
this.
will pay the $20,000 for the
Okay, so you can
blueprints
still go forward.
to go forward.
Right,
Okay.
but we have to recoup that from the loan. That's the way it works. When you buy a house, I mean, if you have big closing costs, your closing costs are rolling into the loan.
Well, this isn't a closing cost design, normally it's enrolled into a loan
It's-
when you buy the house.
It's, you know, it's all the same thing.
Well, it's not, to you it is, but to us it's not, or at least to me it's not. You know, if you've got the money to pay for it up front, and you're confident you're gonna get the APA, then that's really just a matter of you laying the money out, then when the loan, when it's approved, we reimburse you for that because we approved the project. But to just go ahead and arbitrarily approve a project, I think that's just irresponsible on our part, if we don't even know if the permits are gonna be issued, spend money before we even know if the project will.
Well, if you approve it tonight, and the APA says no, project stops. We don't get the money, there's no harm, no foul. We spend $20,000 and we're out to $20,000, and we ask the town for nothing. But the way the steps work in the permitting process and the design process and everything else, we need a commitment from you first.
Is that what the membership wants to do? Spend the money and then I get it back? Because that's not what I heard, that's not what I just heard Mitch say. Mitch said that, you know, they would put it up, but they want it back.
Yeah, I mean, they want to get your approval before they spend all that money.
Personally, I'm just uncomfortable with it, so but that's just me, so, you know, it's.
Okay, last call for the board, anything else? Okay, it's
Do you have any more questions for the public, or?
We've asked, the public can have a chance to speak.
Yeah, you mind if I speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Can you state,
What's that?
can you state your name and address, please?
My name is Patrick Beck, Fort Ann, Ridge Road in Fort Ann. Going back to your previous issue with having recruitment for members, it's a lot easier to get members when you have a newer station, but to show that. A lot of people don't want to join when it's just a tin shed with good crack pavement, and like Dave was saying, you can barely walk around the trucks. It's a lot easier to get people that want to show up when they're actually showing up to a nice place. And we're not asking for much, it's just sheet metal and insulation. It's not like we're asking for a Bay Ridge type firehouse. It's really simple. Like they're trying to say, we don't want to spend the 20, 30 grand to get approved from the EPA and then come here and find out you guys are just gonna shut us down and we're out 20, 30 grand. That was our logic for going that route. That's all I really got. I mean, you have an department that covers Fort Ann 24/7. Any car accident, any fire, people responding from that station are coming here too. It's not like we're just out on our own, only covering small little West Fort Ann. Having a bigger building with the trucks laid out right would help response times for everybody.
Thank you for your comment, appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, it's now,
They're not asking us to pay the loan. They're gonna pay this off themselves?
no, it's 100%, the taxpayer's gonna pay for it.
It's like when we buy a fire truck.
Without taxpayers, how do you expect us to pay?
Well, I mean-
I'm asking, because I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
That's why.
Because we do a lot of fundraising, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little aggravated, but I don't see any one of you at our fundraisers. And how many of you live in our fire district? So don't tell me that making fundraisers is gonna pay for this, because we can't do it. We do pancake breakfast
You're the one
every
You're the
month.
one who said run the fundraisers.
Every month we do a pancake breakfast, and we're lucky if we make $500, $600. Then you gotta take out all the supplies out of that.
My question was, is the West Fort Ann Fire Company gonna be contributing any money towards the $475,000?
We will do as much as we can, and like we did with the truck.
We'll absorb as much as we can of the payment, but I don't know what that's going to be until the end of each budget year.
So.
As with the new truck, we had a $58,000 payment. Before we made the first payment, we subtracted $31,000 from the budget.
I recall,
Right.
money you had.
We took $31,000 out of our budget request for that year to accommodate the new truck payment.
All right,
We trimmed and took a lot of
So
financial
we
stuff
will
off.
absorb as much as we can, but we still have to keep doing what we're doing.
George is there for breakfast.
okay.
You're there for breakfast.
Yeah.
Alrighty, it's 7:07, we will close the public hearing for the expansion of the West Fort Ann Firehouse. Okay, next on the agenda, the committee reports, and we'll begin with the supervisor report. The Washington County Public Safety Department is going to be presenting, having an evening up at Whitehall on February 26th from 7 to 9 p.m. on citizen preparedness training. This is for disasters, and this is what the governor has asked to take. This is what the governor has asked to take place in all of the counties throughout the state of New York, and that's going to be once again on February 26th at the Whitehall Municipal Center from 7 to 9 o'clock. The other thing that I do want to mention is on the Countryside Veterinary Hospital contract, there was a change made on the contract, and that is for any unidentified dog should be held for a period of 5 days from the day seized. And under the old contract, it was 9 days, but the state law is to hold a dog, an unidentified dog, for a period of 5 days. Also, I received a phone call a couple of weeks ago from Bill Caprud regarding a couple of parcels of land that he owns in Battle Hill. And he asked if the town would be interested in buying the parcels. And the amount of the parcels that he has is about 92 acres. I told him I would contact the Civil War Trust in Washington, D.C., which I did, and to see if they would have an interest in purchasing some of that property or all of that property. And I heard back just recently from the the Civil War Trust, that there is a part of that property that they would be interested in pursuing. And John, the Saturday afternoon, Bill called me back and we chatted about it. And he said he would like to pursue going further for the town purchase of the Civil War Trust, making the initial purchase of some additional land down there, which would be great. And we'll begin the process. I received an email today from Kathy Robertson, who was the main person that we dealt with the property that we bought recently. We took ownership on recently in Battle Hill, and she's going to be contacting me sometime tomorrow or later this week to talk about what the next steps are with Mr. Caproot, and we will keep you informed as we go forward. Okay, next on the agenda is to hear from the town board members. And we'll start with Debbie.
No, I'm good. I see Lane's here, if he wants to make it.
He's going to get to him eventually. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, Gretchen?
I've got a newsletter from the Office of the Aging, and I believe it's posted in the town hall as well. Couple of things that are in it that might be of interest are some free tax return cards. For assistance, you can get help if you need it, and there's a number here to call and get your taxes done for free. In the newsletter, there are senior events and support groups. There's an article on what's new with Medicare rights. It gives February activities and educational events in the area. And there's also a good article on scam news and how to recognize a scam on the phone or otherwise. And I bet everybody here has had at least one call as a scam. I know I have. With the Champlain Canal Trail, design work is underway from Fort Edward to New Swamp Road. They hope to have a public hearing in March and construction to begin in early 2019. Kingsbury to Fort Ann, the permitting and coordination with local officials is beginning, and they hope to start construction around March or April in 2019. The canal boating season will be open from May 18th till October 10th this year. And I think that's about it.
Penny?
I have a couple things. Gretchen and I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony at the new Dunkin' Donuts in town. Nice little building. I'm sure probably a lot of you have been here. It seems to be busy. I can tell you every time I go by, there seems to be people there. So it's a nice little building. We attended that. Supervisor was at a county meeting, so that's why Gretchen and I were there. I have a request for a couple volunteers to be on the cemetery committee with me. I'd like to have at least two people come forward. Right now, I don't see anything coming up, but if you would like to, see me after the meeting or get a hold of me one way or another and give me the information I need, and if we need to meet, we'll meet. And I had some questions for Mark, but he isn't here, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Sam?
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Next we'll have the town clerk report.
A check was given to the bookkeeper for the month of January 1st to January 31st. And everybody should have a copy of the enforcement officer's report as well as the dog control officer. Neither one of those gentlemen, they had prior commitments.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from the highway superintendent.
We've been quite busy the last month, plowing snow and dealing with freezing rain. Did get a little tree work in. We went up and trimmed the trees off at our bridge project that's going to happen this year up on Hightown Road. I have a meeting on Thursday with the GPI engineering firm. They're gonna help us. They got another grant out. We're gonna apply for another grant for another bridge over on Old Route 4.
Good.
So hopefully we can get that one. Other than that, everything seems to be going all right. We had discussions about possibly buying a used truck. The deal didn't go through. They ended up getting more than I thought it was worth. So the deal kind of went south. And I was talking with Supervisor Moore last week and give him the idea of possibly purchasing a new truck and got some information on a new truck. The new truck we could take out of, we have a machinery fund account with $80,000 in it, and we could take money out of our machinery fund for the next 5 years to pay for this truck, so it wouldn't like we'd be looking for an increase. Questions?
The plow truck that you have now, the value of the truck is probably around,
30 to 40,000, I'm estimating.
and if you were to put a new steel box on it, the steel box is,
50,000.
so you're gonna put a $50,000 box on a $30,000 or $40,000 truck, that's what you,
05.
05. So the conversations that Paul and I have had is maybe, you know, the town has bought used all along.
It seems like every 3 years, we're looking for another used truck, and that's where our machinery fund is going anyways.
So we met, we discussed, okay, what if we were to buy a new truck, how would we buy it, what would it cost? And
For a new truck with plow equipment, dump box, sander, everything, for the truck is, the cabin chassis of the truck would be $131,543. And for the equipment to go on it would be $72,201.82, which would be a total of $203,744.82.
so the total's $203,744.82.
Yep.
And if we pay it over 5 years,
Depending on your interest rate, approximately $43,000 a year to 44.
so out of your $80,000 budget,
We would take that money for the
we
next
take
5
that
years
for
to
the
pay
next
for
5
the
years,
truck.
so there'd be no increase in your budget.
Nope.
So 80 minus the 43 leaves you 37.
36,000, 37, whatever it is.
36,
Yep.
37,000, what are you gonna need for?
Right, anything else? We bought the new grader, this would put us in decent shape. We got one other truck that's getting older, the 03, and.
That's the blue one?
The blue one, yep. We paid $28,000 for that 5 years ago. We've about got our money out of it. But we could use that one for a spare truck and possibly take the money that we have, that we're gonna use for the box, and purchase another single axle.
How much, I know you and I spoke about this, about the new truck, the new plow truck would replace the 2005 Peterbilt.
Yep. Last new truck we bought was 2008, and that was $168,000.
And on that Peterbilt, it would go to auction,
Yep, we put it on Auctions International.
and what do you expect that you would get maybe?
I'm thinking 30 to 40,000. The Volvo that we looked at, the guy was hoping to get 30, he ended up getting 33. So they're going, some of them are going good. I mean, it's a crapshoot.
So you'd have the 50,000, you
Yep.
have, let's call it 30 on
Yep.
on this low interest, and then you'd have 30.
Yep.
Then the blue truck,
We could become a spare and replace that with the 80,000 there,
80,000.
and not finance nothing there. That would be paid for, yeah.
So there'd be no increase in your budget.
Nope. And truck-wise, that should put us in good shape for about 6 years. Unless something got wrecked or, but
Let's not do
that's
that.
what insurance is for. But you never know. We had,
So it'd be completely budget neutral then? Wouldn't be any
yeah,
increases? in
yep,
wages or
no
whatever.
increases, no.
Okay, the board have any questions at all?
Well, as soon as I saw, excuse me, the email that we were gonna get into the used truck business, I put my mind to say no, and I would've brought it up tonight regardless, because as a town, we've been really lucky when it comes to buying used equipment. Big Green, which we've had, what, 3 years, 2 years?
That's the one, that's 4 years.
That's 4 years. Bought that at 70 or 75.
50,000.
Had to put 5 in it, versus a couple $100,000 for a new truck. But sooner or later, the way I figure it, and I've worked there for years, so I know, they take good care of the equipment. When you go to buy something used, how do you know? How do you know how it's been taken care of? You don't. There's no guarantees, so you buy it as is, where is, you transport it. I hate spending tons of money, but as long as it doesn't affect deep into the pockets of the taxpayers, I'm all for it. I think we've been dang lucky, and I think there's gotta be a, like the fire companies rotate stuff, we need to be in the same mode. We need to start buying stuff that's gonna last and not roll the dice and hope it does, so I'm all for it.
With that price, you get an extended warranty on the motor and the transmission, because it's gonna be an automatic transmission for 5-year unlimited miles.
Any other questions? Alrighty, moving on. The enforcement officer is not here this evening. Is there anybody from the Historical Society that would like to speak this evening?
I think we're all summering down south.
Okay, and next would be the Lake Hadlock Park Manager, Joe.
Do you want me to read the narrative? Gretchen?
No, you don't have to read it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions regarding the contents?
Does anyone have any questions? I'd make one comment, Joe, about the, working with the association on the development of a lake owner's handbook.
Yes, sir.
That should be a real major step forward for people to be able to have.
We're working on it. I got a meeting with Bill Bailey on Thursday.
This week?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Do people know about what that is? You wanna?
Well, what it is it's a manual that that would be given to the Lake Association, not just the Lake Association members, but all the members, I would imagine. All the people in the lake could benefit by it, I would imagine. And it's a simple. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I can build on that. Paradox Lake has a lake owner's manual, as well as Schroon Lake. And basically what it does is it gives 10 simple steps of being a better steward of the lake where you own property. And then there's another part of it that kind of gives suggestions as to how do you complement the lake management program. So it would be something that we might have to split a little bit of cost with the Lake Association, but I think I got some avenues regarding access to professional printers to do a nice color-bound handout for all 279 owners on the lake. And I hope Gretchen has the product done by the annual membership meeting. But it's only a guide that the lake owner can put in their house or do whatever they want to with it, but it's there if they want to use it as a resource document as to kind of the do's and don'ts of lake ownership.
It's nothing they have to do.
No, it's just suggestive measures and basically a little bit of marketing as to what are the best practices in the Adirondack Park as far as what other lakes are doing, but it's all voluntary.
Okay, thank you. The dog officer is not here this evening, and we have a special guest this evening, Mr. Dwayne Vaughn. Dwayne?
Hello, thank you. In the fall, we got together, the town was gracious enough to send Deb Witherill from the town board and Don Bedell from the planning board to look at a resident and business liaison committee to try to figure out what the town of Fort Anne would like to see for businesses and what might attract businesses in the town of Fort Anne. Since then, the town was able to get me the community plan, which I had to go through. The community plan, I think, was done 15+ years ago. And I don't really think that anything was done with the community plan, to my knowledge. I'm looking through that now. Things have stalled a little bit. I haven't had a lot of people kicking down my door to join this committee. That if anybody would like to, please get a hold of me. Emily Stranahan just volunteered, sent me an email Friday, right? Yep, so we're starting to look at some other committee members. One of the things that we'd like to do, or that I'm gonna be presenting, I'm hoping to meet with Deb and Don in March, and hopefully get this whole thing rolling by May, is kind of a tentative date, after we've gone through the community plan. I've been working with the Washington County Economic Opportunity Council with Claire Murphy, and they would like to see some other parts of a survey come in that we'd like to do on the business model in Fort Anne, and look at some of the other things that are being done. Fort Anne is actually fairly progressive in Washington County and what they're doing with food pantry work and you know, things in the school with school supplies, things like that. There's 3 pilot committees that we see that we're going to try to start with the Economic Opportunity Council, and that's the Greenwich, Fort Anne, and possibly Whitehall. So hopefully we can integrate all this into one committee and see what kind of work we can get done. It's kind of a new initiative, but the Economic Opportunity Council is also the community action agency for Washington County in New York State, and that's what they do. I mean, they look at what's being addressed on issues with transportation, poverty, food, businesses, all those types of things that can benefit the community. So hopefully we'll be able to integrate some of that piece into our resident and business liaison committee. So again, if anybody's interested, we were initially thinking of 5 to 7 people. We might even want to up that a little bit, but being that right now we only have 4, we definitely would like to see some more if anybody would like to get involved.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I got
Dennis, go ahead. Sure.
The Long Range Planning Committee model, I was involved along with a lot of other people, all right? Lots of time, grant money involved, stuff like that, and then it was taken, put together, and then put on a shelf and never done anything with.
Yep.
By previous boards, okay? So that's why that was never acted on. I mean, we put in a lot of time. I mean, Mary Davis, she was there at every meeting, that I know. I didn't make all of them, but I was there when I could be. And there were a lot of other people that put in as much time as Mary did, and a lot of thought went into it, Dwayne, but then it was just taken and shelved.
Right.
So what's gonna happen, you're gonna go through the same thing.
No. No, we're not going to go through the same process.
Well,
This really,
I'm not here to argue, Dwayne, but I'm telling you, unless you come up with a way to get the money to do what needs to be done.
Well, I think that one of the problems was that community plan was quite ambitious. There was a lot of things on the agenda in the community plan, and that's not what this committee needs to do. We need to try to figure out, you know, maybe 3 priority items that can make the town better. And one of the things is trying to figure out, we know that there's been discrepancies about what people feel like in this town should be here for business. We know there's been disagreements about certain businesses that have come in. I can think of the last 3 businesses that have came into town that there's been some pretty heavy discussion on. So, you know, one of the reasons why we wanted to get this together is say, hey, let's ask first. Let's just figure out what people want to see. You know, I'm not sure how far it's going to go, and I'm not setting some kind of a timeline where, you know, we've got to have all these goals achieved by, you know, 2019. It's basically, let's sit back, take a survey, take a look at what people would like to see, try to attack 1, 2, 3 issues in the town, and not overwhelm ourselves. Because, you know, and the other thing too is I think, you know, a lot of the people in this room I know are busy. You know, you're taking a lot of time, a lot of your free time and putting it towards this, and I don't want to see anybody that's, you know, going to be sitting on a committee. This is not going to be something that you need to wake up every day thinking that I've got to accomplish this. You know, but I just think it's important, you know, there's been too many discussions in the past about the businesses that have come in, and we don't even know as a town what we want.
All right, in answer to that, being on the committee, I don't think it was that ambitious, because there was a lot of things we just kicked off to the side. My problem is people volunteered their time, put a lot of hours in, and it just got shelved. I would agree, the first thing you need to do is to find out what they want in town and what they don't, because every time something comes into town, it makes the Post Star.
Well,
You know as well as I do, because you're in Glens Falls more than I am, but the view of this community is pretty much negative towards anybody wanting to bring a business into this community.
well, maybe it's time to change that. And it's, you know,
I don't disagree with you.
I don't consider it,
You've got to overcome, I've got stuff going back 15 years, headlines out of the Post Star, and none of it's good.
Right, well, I've been in them, so I get it.
I understand, and I'm not trying to argue with you. All I'm saying is there's a big hill that you've got to go up. And, you know, maybe we put a community survey out there. Maybe you do that. I don't know.
Well, that's the goal.
Okay.
I'm gonna be putting a survey together first.
All right.
And the big thing is just being able to way to distribute it and get people to help out distributing it.
All right. Thank you.
Emily, I'm gonna ask you to stand if you don't mind for a moment. I don't know how many of you in the community know Mrs. Stranahan, but I just want to take a minute to share with you some of the things that this young lady has done for this town. I met Emily when I was on the school board, and Emily is one of the people who started the backpack program that you talked about, helping the 14 families you said? 14 families. And she rolled up her sleeves, and I couldn't believe what she did in a relatively short period of time. Then in 2016, we did the Fort Ann Helping Fort Ann, and we had the businesses in town and the school in particular, to try to collect as many canned goods and dry goods so that we could start a food pantry type of thing. And who was there? None other than Emily Stranahan. And now the Cornerstone Bible Church has taken over that. And if you know anybody that is in need of some help with some food, Emily can be the person to help them. And Emily, all of us in the town are so fortunate to have you, and I just want to say thank you from the board, and I'm sure on behalf of the whole town. Okay, where are we on the agenda? I think now we go to the new business, and it's time to open the bids for the 2018 new half-ton extended cab pickup truck. How many,
We received two, and the first one is from West Her. And it's for $29,137. Paul, if you want to take a look at it. Before the meeting, I gave Paul a copy of the actual specs so he could compare it. So then if you want to move on while he's reviewing them.
that was 29,137, Paul?
Yep.
Okay.
And the second one was received from Warren Ford. And that one was $28,215.70. And here you go, Paul, if you want to look at that one. Those are the only two received.
Do you want to take a minute, Paul? And
Please. Yeah.
we'll continue on with the meeting.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay?
Yep.
When we
Just so I
get,
can
when
ensure that I'm not missing.
we get to the resolution, you can explain to us that we're comparing apples to apples, okay? Alrighty. Alrighty. Next on the agenda are the resolutions, and we'll begin with resolution number 41. Barbara, if you'd be kind enough to introduce resolution 41.
Resolution to modify the 2017 budget by transferring funds between appropriations due to deficits in specified appropriation accounts in the amount of $13,026. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2017 budget shall be amended by transferring funds between appropriations as indicated above, and I would like to take a roll call vote when you're ready.
This is money for the general fund, okay? Where it's going from the contingency into the general fund. And it shows you a breakdown of each of the areas that the money has gone to. So we need a motion for the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion needed? Barbara, roll call vote?
All set?
Yep.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Next will be resolution number 42.
Resolution to modify the 2017 budget by transferring funds between appropriations to cover excess expenditures, and this would be in the amount of $12,313 and then $1,046. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2017 budget shall be amended by transferring funds between appropriations as indicated above.
Okay, we need a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? This is to move $12,313 from the highway fund out of village into capital outlay for $12,313. And to move $1,046 from the highway fund townwide from the machinery contractual to the machinery equipment and employee benefit state retirement for $1,046. And once again, this will be a roll call vote.
All set?
Yes.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Resolution number 43.
Resolution to modify the 2017 budget by appropriating unanticipated CHIPS revenues to cover excess expenditures in the amount of $75,976.45. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2017 budget shall be amended by appropriating funds to the account as indicated above.
So we need a motion for resolution 43.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? The monies that are being moved are from the highway fund out of village. The estimated revenue was $75,976.45, and it's going to be appropriated to the improvement for the capital outlay for $75,976.45. And once again, this will be a roll call vote.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Resolution number 44.
Resolution to modify the 2017 budget by appropriating funds from the Washington County Treasurer to be used towards funding the 2017 summer recreation program in the amount of $1,110.
We need a motion for that.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? This is to move $1,110, from the estimated revenue to share of the joint activities for $1,110 and appropriate it to $746 for the joint youth program for personal services and $364 to the joint youth program contractual in the amount of $1,110. And this requires a roll call vote also.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Resolution number 45.
Resolution to modify the 2017 budget by appropriating funds from the fund balance of the Youth Commission Fund to cover excess expenditures incurred by the 2017 Summer Recreation Program in the amount of $228.
Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? This is to take money from the appropriated fund balance from the Youth Commission Fund in the amount of $228 and appropriating it to the Joint Youth Program contractual in the amount of $228. And this also requires a roll call vote.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Resolution number 46.
Retirement standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials.
We need a motion for the resolution.
I'll make it.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
This resolution is for the retirement standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. And on it, it has the tax collector Donna Klein from the period beginning January 1st, 18 through December 31st, 2019. The days and months to be recorded of the activities is 17.96 days. Shows the town clerk, Barbara Winchell, for the same period of time, and that's for 22.65 days per month. And highway superintendent, Paul Winchell, for the same amount of term period for 22 days. And the appointed officials, Debbie Fifield, the planning board secretary, for the same period of term period and for 3.26 days per month. The enforcement officer, Mark Miller, for the same period of time, 8.48 days per month. The dog control officer, Todd Hummerston, 4.7 days per month. And Councilwoman Debbie Witherell, for the same term period, for 4.75 days per month. We'll have a roll call vote on this one also, Barbara.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
Supervisor
You
Moore?
know what? I think we want to go back just for a second. We need to get a,
Gretchen made the motion
Gretchen
and
made the,
Debbie
okay,
seconded it,
yeah,
yeah?
okay, I'm sorry.
That's right, Supervisor Moore?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, resolution number 47.
Retirement standard workday and reporting resolution.
Okay, this is a resolution for the deputy tax collector and the standard workday hours, the days 7. And we'll have a roll call vote on this also. So we need a motion now for this, number 47.
I'll move it.
Sam?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Barbara.
Councilwoman Witherell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark?
Yes.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
And Supervisor Moore?
Yes. Now, resolution number 48.
Resolution auditing the financial records of the town justice. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fort Ann Town Board audited the financial records of the town justice for the fiscal year January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2017 at a special meeting held on January 18th and January 25th, 2018.
So we need a motion for resolution 48.
I'll make it.
I'll suggest you correct the names though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank
We
you.
need a second.
I'll move it. Sorry.
Gretchen?
Is that Hall or Gretchen?
Gretchen.
Gretchen, okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion needed? Aye votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next is resolution number 49.
Resolution adopting a local law providing for an exemption for Cold War veterans from real property tax pursuant to Real Property Tax Law, Section 458B.
Do we need a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? This is you should have a single sheet in front of you that shows Washington County at the top for the Cold War veteran. It shows that the percentage is 10% and the maximum exemption is in the amount of $2,000. And what is being proposed is for us to mirror what's done at the county in the amount of 10% with a maximum exemption of $8,000. Any further discussion needed on this? Okay, I votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay. Next is to approve the resolution number 50.
Resolution authorizing Supervisor Moore to sign the Haley and Aldridge proposal for annual Hadlock Dam inspection services.
I'll make it.
Gretchen Stock. Please go to second it.
I'll second it.
This is for the annual inspection of the dam. And it's in the amount of $4,400. And it's gonna be a while before they inspect the dam because there's a lot of snow and ice on it right now. So, any further discussion needed? I votes aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? I'll make sure I give you this after the meeting is over, the contract. Resolution number 51.
Are you ready, Paul?
Yep.
Okay. Resolution to accept the bid of,
And this is for the bid for the,
2018 or newer half-ton extended cab pickup.
right, so we need a motion.
I'll make it.
They're both identical trucks.
We can do the second first, just,
I'll second.
okay. Paul?
They are both identical trucks, just Warren Ford's options were a little cheaper than West Hare's, which made the price difference. So I suggest go with Warren Ford.
And all of the options that you want are on
Yep.
the bid?
Yep. It's
Okay.
both detailed here, if anybody else would like to look at it, or?
We're talking an apple for an apple, because the last time.
Right. The last time, the West Hare was bidding a plain Jane truck
Correct.
versus what we were looking for.
Yeah,
But
correct.
I got both sets, if you'd like to look at them
Yeah,
yourself.
I'd like to just take a peek at it, Paul.
Same thing. Start out price is identical, so.
But don't leave.
I'm right here.
This is what I need. Okay.
The remote start was cheaper through Warren Ford by almost $200. Some of the other fees.
Okay, any further discussion needed regarding this? Let's do a roll call vote on this.
Councilman Fletcher,
Yes.
Councilman Hall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark,
Yes.
Councilwoman Witherell,
Yes.
and Supervisor Moore.
Yes.
Can I have that amount one more time, Paul, if you have it right there?
For which one?
The one that got the bid.
28, 215, 70, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
$28,215.70.
70 cents, thank you.
Next is the resolution number 52.
Resolution to support Champlain Hudson Power Express project.
We need a motion for that?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
And I'm gonna recommend to the board that we table this vote until we actually do the walkthrough. Paul and I and Sam and the gentleman who was here this evening and his engineer, so that we have a chance to see exactly where it is and to know a little bit more about what entailed, to make certain that
Yeah, we just spent $160,000 on the north end over last year.
And to make certain that that all of the Battle Hill questions are addressed. So I just think we should hold off on that. We can vote on this once we get more comfortable. Okay?
A motion to table it.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, next on the agenda is resolution number 53.
Okay, appoint Tiffany Ball as part-time planning board secretary effective March 1st.
Okay, do you need a resolution for that?
I'll make it.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
The annual salary for this position is $4,663, but it'll be prorated for the period of time from March 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, with an effective date of March 1st, 2018. Any further discussion needed? Aye votes? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Next is resolution number 54.
Resolution to accept planning board member resignation from Ruth Pettis.
Okay, we need a motion for that?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any further discussion needed? Aye votes aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, next is resolution number 55.
Resolution to approve tax-exempt financing for the construction of a 3-bay expansion at West Fort Ann Volunteer Fire Company pursuant to section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code.
I would make a recommendation to the board that we table this for this evening
Second it.
until,
Mr. Moore,
yes,
I have a letter, it's sent to your email right now, dated February 9th, 2018, from Joe Rothrock. Item number 4, the time frame they outline in the commitment is estimated. As long as you continue to keep us in the loop, and if you accept the terms of the commitment, these terms will stay in place. Should the dates happen to come in and pass, we can revise the commitment with the new dates and keep the terms the same. So your loan rate would be the same. The bank understands you have to get the approval in place, but if you ignore the bank, that you need to keep us updated, then we have the option to revisit the terms. Being that you've always returned my calls and have been responsive in the past, I don't see this being an issue. In writing from the bank, February 9th.
yep, when I see
It's
it.
in your mail.
And we'll see it later on this evening or tomorrow. I still think that we should table this until we have a better understanding of what's gonna happen with the APA. I think you should call the APA, find out what kind of a turnaround time you're looking at. Did you read that verbatim?
Verbatim.
Verbatim from what he, so he's gonna keep that interest rate no matter what, it sounds like.
As long as we keep them in the loop and keep working with them, then it is locked in place. And that is in writing, item number 4 of the page from Joe Rothrock. And that's been through our lawyer, Bruce Sapinski, because he was answering questions that we had dealing with the terms of the loan.
So, that would be my recommendation, is that we just wait and get a better understanding. We're not saying yes, we're not saying no. And I don't think it should be that difficult for you to make a call.
Have you dealt with the park?
Huh?
Have you ever dealt with the park?
You can't just make a phone call up there and they'll tell you, oh, we'll have it through by May. That doesn't work with them. Because they want to see everything first.
Anybody else on the board have anything regarding this?
If we table it, when's it gonna be brought up again? When they report back?
Yeah, I mean, we could do it, you know,
Do we have to have a special
we
meeting?
might have to have a special meeting, if we could, if necessary, to accommodate that. Just think we need to get some more information on the EPA.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about the financial aspect of it. You know, one says they don't know what the balance is in the checkbook and their account. Other one says we can pay the $20,000.
I'm not the treasurer, sorry.
I know, but that's.
You know what, you
No,
know
let me
every day
finish, let me
how
finish
much-
what I'm saying, let me finish, okay? But you didn't bring the finance officer with you, the people to answer these kind of questions, Mitch. That's the thing.
I have $46,000 in my trust fund. That's a balanced amount that comes from the town every year in our budget line. I have $3,000 in my kitchen fund. That's what we raise from kitchen and donation people. I have $28,000 in my savings account right now. That's gotta carry me through with my power, gas, everything until we get our check from March. So when we get done, along with the money that we have set aside for Mitch, that's in the budget, there's less than $10,000 left right now to carry us through.
Okay.
You know, and they say, my budget line may say I have $128,000 in the bank, that's 5 accounts, only 2 matter,
Okay.
and those are down.
And I'll go back to my point, Floyd.
Yes.
When that's all done, you got $10,000 left to reimburse us for $20,000.
I have to keep a
That's-
cost on this building too.
I understand that. But that, again, it goes back to, you know, the fiduciary responsibility we have to taxpayers
Mhm.
to say, okay, are we gonna recoup money if we put it out and we don't have the approvals in there?
That's why we were trying to get the approvals before we put the money out.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do also, get the proper approvals to know it's gonna go forward. That's, you know.
See, we're kind of both standstills right now.
But the department won't continue through if we don't get the
Right.
park approval. We can't build it anyway.
We can't build it anyway if the APA says no. It's no money out of your pocket.
Any fees right now that have incurred are coming from the fire companies, and that's the membership fire
We
company.
have to come up with it.
Okay, I apologize because I thought that you had said earlier that you had to have our money to move forward. That's what we had to
No.
approve.
That's not what I said. I said that we were gonna
We just
move
need,
forward it.
we just need an approval.
They're afraid to spend, it's gonna be about $20,000 for an architect. They're afraid to spend that, if you already have in your mind, you're gonna say no to it.
Mitch, that's not what we said. That's not what's being said.
I understand it, but that's how they
That's
feel.
That's how some of our members feel. They don't want to
Or
spend
it's
the
easier
money.
for us to say, okay, the park said no, we're done.
They don't-
Versus
They don't want to expend the money not knowing what's
spend all
going
the
to
money on the fees and all that with the park, and then you say no. So, or the taxpayers say no, actually.
Because no matter what, there's fees involved with this. I mean, we have a little bit of money, but
And we have in this already.
4,000 plus the surveyor.
5,000 total.
So we have,
Five
So we already got
$5,000.
5,000 tied into it, just in 3 pages.
right now, what we have on the table is a motion to table this until we get further information. Is there any more discussion? Does somebody wanna have us vote to take this off the table and to vote on this, or should we, what is your preference? Well, I think at this time, let's, Sam, what is your, as far as tabling, do you vote, you vote for the tabling?
I vote to table, yes.
Then,
Table.
Gretchen?
I think table, but not for a whole month. I'd like to get a special meeting going if we need to.
Debbie, your position?
If the information comes in, we could have a special meeting.
I just think,
What
we-
information do you want? That the park's gonna approve it?
well, they're not gonna tell you that on the telephone,
Well,
obviously.
that's,
You're gonna have to
I know, but that's, I'm trying to,
You're gonna have to go through and get the permit from the park, okay? And then once you have the permit from the park, to come back to the board. And at that time, the board will decide, you know, if they're gonna go through with this and approve it, or if they were to reject it.
Mitch?
So you're going to table it for 6 or 8 months then?
go ahead.
We don't know that. I don't think any of us in this room know exactly.
You're not going to get a permit through the APA in 2 weeks, believe me. There's no way.
I want you guys to know, I've been in your bays. I know what you're talking about when it comes to space. And what we're butting heads about is the outlay of money. Now, the gentleman that was back there talking about membership said your membership didn't want to outlay $20,000, and we are expected to do this, we're expected to
They don't wanna put the 20,000 into To go to the park, I've been building for 28 years. You have to have an engineer stamp before the park will even look at it. There's 20 grand right off the bat, because it's a commercial building.
Yeah, Mitch, I understand.
So, no, so what I'm saying is, the department's willing to pay for that, but they're nervous on going to you and you say no.
The other thing that, that I certainly would wanna know is what the commitment is gonna be from the bank. What type of loan is it gonna be? What is gonna be the interest rate on it?
You got a commitment letter in front of you.
All right, well, you just said that you wanted to hear from the park, now you wanna hear from the bank, so now that's $22,000.
You need to know if it's, what product you're gonna finally have from the bank.
Well, the bank, until,
We'll have to spend $2,000.
that's $2,000 for them to come up and give us an estimated value of our building for whether it becomes a construction loan or it becomes a home equity. And the equity aspect is simple because they just cut a check. With a construction loan, we have to go through the process of having certain timeframes of work, then have to contact the bank, have certain checks cut. We're just trying to make it cut and easy. We're not bankers, we're firemen.
Is the equity loan a fixed product loan, or is it a variable?
It'll be a fixed loan. Nothing that, it's gonna be a fixed rate, it's,
So we need to see that in writing, obviously, for what the final product is gonna be.
you have the rate, which is fixed rate, which is a tax exempt financial loan rate. That will be the rate on the home equity most likely. It might be a half a point lower. It may be 3.85 or 3.75. He's not gonna give me that until I pay him $2,000 to come out and look at my buildings and give me an estimation. So that's $2,000. I've already got a commitment for $475,000 at that rate.
Correct.
Are we gonna spend $475,000? I hope not. It may be cheaper, then we can adjust that. I've already checked on prepayment penalties. I've focused on all those aspects. They're outlining that there. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional and worked up on it, because I've been an 18-year board member of the fire department, consecutive right now. I served 5 years prior to that. I'm a 31-year member of the fire company. Everyone sitting here will tell you that when it comes to when we built Station 1, it was hard. We only got $12,000 a year at that point in time. When we got a new truck, first thing I told the guys, we can't afford it, we gotta calm down. We got the second truck, first thing I said, you gotta calm down, we can't afford it. We got 463. I'm the first one that they'll tell you right now, will say, we stop spending, you can't spend it. I've done my due diligence to try to get that building at its cheapest price. The commitment letters are in front of you, you know what we have to spend to go the next step. The company, whether APA can come in and say yes, and then I gotta contact the bank to come in for them to give me a value on the epic. So if I hold the bank off and give them the value of my loan, that makes it longer for the bank to get funds back to us, because they're gonna have to schedule it, and it's a month for them to come up there to take a look at our survey plans, which have been updated. I have that aspect taken care of. Then they'll go back and figure out, we got $633,000, I'm throwing a number out at you, don't quote me on it. If that's our assessed value, then we get a home equity loan. If we don't have that much value, we're now at a construction loan. Construction loan, you have in front of you at a fixed rate. If anything, the rate's gonna drop down. So we're saving farther on down the line. I have a dollar amount for you. I have what the loan's gonna be at a 20-year fixed rate. I have the dollar amount, what it's gonna be at a 25-year adjustable rate, that's gonna adjust after 5-year term. If any, I'm trying to make it go down. I'm not making it go up, but I'm giving you a commitment at 475 at that rate.
You have the maximum that it's gonna be.
I still think we should get the approval from the APA first.
Well, good luck with that.
Anybody, further discussion?
So are you asking us just for approval so that you can spend $20,000 when you go forward?
Not for you to give us the 20,000 for that. We're asking for pre-approval. If APA approves it,
If all the steps
Then I'll-
fall into place,
then we'll go
we
through
can
with the loan.
proceed. We can go forward with it.
For the approval of the $475,000 is what the.
At the
If,
fixed
if,
rate.
if any one of these steps says no, we're done. It collapses. We're not borrowing any money, we're not doing anything, we're not gonna build. But somebody has to come forward at some point and say, yes or no. We can't take another step without a yes.
I still think we need the information we asked for, and then we can all move forward.
Can I
Can
ask
they
a
get it
question?
without?
Sure.
How is this, I don't understand how the town board, they just asking for an approval, it's not gonna cost you anything. At this point, it's not gonna cost you anything. So why not approve that, and then like they said, if everything falls through, it still has.
It's at
They're
zero,
just
right?
gonna say, you're saying, okay, so you can go ahead and check all this. So I really don't understand what the big problem is with
Well, I
okaying
think-
something they're asking.
Yeah, maybe I'm.
Because they're not asking for money right
Yeah,
now.
well, no, they are, because the question was, if we approve a $475,000 loan
Right,
towards the purchase of it,
right,
and now we're part of them going out and spending the other 20,000
right.
and the other 2,000, or.
Which they're gonna pay for themselves, they said.
Unless we give them the loan, then we're gonna have to recoup that to them, if it should be said no. So, yeah, Joe, it's not, that we're just gonna say, approve $475,000, and then we won't have any indebtedness. Once we improve that, if they spend those funds and it's turned down, then the taxpayers are on the hook for that money.
We didn't say that.
They didn't say
That's
that.
not what we said at all.
We said
I
if we
asked
went
that
through with the
question.
building, we would recoup the
I asked
money.
if you look, no, what you said first, Mitch, when I asked you was,
No.
then you're gonna expect us to.
You gotta play that tape back,
Yeah,
because I said that we were gonna take care of that, but they didn't wanna spend the money until they heard from the town board. That's what I said. And then Dave said, after we get the loan and approval, then they would like to recoup their money.
But that comes out of the loan, it doesn't come out of your pocket.
Okay, so you clarify.
Well, nothing comes out of my pocket. No, I
Well,
understand.
that's what I'm saying.
It comes out of town's pocket.
But before we
Well,
can
we
do,
understand.
before we can do
It comes out of my
anything else,
pocket too, because that's
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
we need a conceptual approval before we can go another step.
Well-
We're wasting our time going to the APA until we know what's gonna happen.
Hold on just a sec, Jeff, how do we structure this so that if the board were to approve this evening, and if the fire company puts out $20,000 plus another $2,000, a total of $22,000, that we, the town, are not responsible for the $22,000?
You're saying hypothetically, board approves it, the APA says no after 22,000, and next year's fire company budget goes up by 22,000 because.
That won't happen.
Is that the concern?
Yes, that's the concern.
There's nothing you can put in this resolution to do, essentially. It's something you can keep in mind come next budget season. But there's really nothing that we can put into this resolution.
Okay.
You want our word that if we get turned down, we won't ask for $22,000 more in our budget next year? I'll give that word to you right now. In writing, give me a piece of paper, I'll sign X.
Without a voting membership, that's,
No.
He's chairman of the board of directors, he can do that.
no, I can't. No, I can't.
We're in
You can't-
charge of all the financial decisions and maintaining
Alright.
insurance and the proper stuff in the fire company.
Okay. I guess that, it just, I'm hearing a lot of different things here. One is that the membership doesn't want to do it unless they get our commitment, and then you're saying you can do it on your own. I just don't know what kind of organization functions that way. When you have a board of directors, you need to have money. I've served on several board of directors, and I, as the director, as the chairman of the board, can't just go out and spend money because I say I want to spend it. It has to be approved by the membership. So this takes it down a whole different road.
The board of directors is charged with coming up with our budget.
It's true.
You guys can't spend enough membership.
No, we can't spend it without the membership voting on it.
That was just my question.
But the board of directors comes up with a budget, and if we come up with a budget,
That was just my question, but Floyd said he could do that tonight, he can give us that guarantee. And there'd be no vote taken here tonight by you people, by your membership.
Correct, it would not be involved, which that could not happen.
Okay, so that's my point.
Just ask Jeff if you could give us a letter stating, that if for some reason the project was not approved by the APA, that the town would not be responsible for reimbursing you for whatever expenditures that you make to go and get approval from the APA and/or the bank. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, that would have to be next Tuesday. No, yes, not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday. We'd be able to do that.
Okay, so then, would the board like to have a special meeting after that?
The 20th is our monthly meeting.
Okay, if you hold on just a second, let me,
Uproot and trying to work with the Civil War Trust as much more the hill that we can, the battlefield. And also thank you for liaison with Sam with the power company. I'm still not convinced 100%, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens, okay?
we'll see, let's, one step at a time.